Hey, welcome to Kabash. Hey, so usually I'm a very shy person and I would like to stand behind the camera. But in this case, I want to be in front to say thank you. Thank you all. My channel just reached 1,000 subscribers. As many of you know, that's not a lot of people in the grand scheme of things, but at the same time, it's a big milestone, at least for me. No matter if it's 100 or 1,000 or just one person, at least I know that my stuff is able to connect with some of you. And that was my goal when I first started this channel. So again, I'd like to say thank you for all the supporters out there who has been there since the beginning. And also for the new people, I'd like to welcome you to my channel. I want to take this opportunity also to be able to introduce myself. Because so far I've been a disembodied voice behind the video. So I want you to get to know the person behind the voice. And I think the perfect way to do so is to update a previous video I've done. The very first video I've done was a compilation of all my customs. And I wanted this time to be an update of that with the new stuff that I've done and have my voice over it. So I hope you enjoy this video. There's gonna be a lot of great things to come. And yeah, thank you again. So the very first things I want to address is why did I start this YouTube channel? The reason is very simple. It is to connect with other people who loves toys and action figures. As you all know, I tend to focus on Star Wars action figures with heavy emphasis on customizing clone troopers. The content of this channel is already a niche within a niche within a niche. You have toy collectors, then Star Wars toy collectors, then customizing Star Wars toys, and it narrows down even further to customizing clone troopers. So, as you could all imagine, it is quite difficult to find people in real life to connect to on this subject matter. My friends and colleagues who knows me probably not even guess I'm into this. They know I'm into boxing, they know I'm into DJing and all this other fun stuff, but they wouldn't guess that I would spend a lot of times at night just painting these custom figures. So naturally, I started this channel to share with people the customs that I have done and also to review some exciting toys that I found out when I'm shopping. I had no ambition of becoming famous or to make any money off of it. This channel is purely a labor of love. You will often hear me whispering in my videos because the only time I have to film these is in the middle of the night when all my work is done and when my kids are asleep. This is the reason why I'm so grateful to all of you who liked my content and also subscribed. You guys might notice I never really remind anybody to like or subscribe my videos because the way I think about it is if you want to do it, you already do it in your own accord. And that is why I'm so thankful and also inspires me to want to produce more meaningful content for you guys in the future. The next thing I want to talk about is to share my relationship with Star Wars franchise. And I'm sure many of you are Star Wars fan one way or another. I'm actually old enough to be alive when the first Star Wars came out in the cinema, although I was only 3, so I couldn't imagine my parents bringing me kicking and screaming into a cinema. But I did manage to catch Empire Strikes Back in the cinema, and I hated it. Imagine, I'm 6 years old. I don't know English, so I hardly understand any of the dialogues, right? Star Wars movie is generally pretty dialogue heavy, bookended by action sequences. So the entire time I was asking questions like, what's going on? Why is this green puppet running around talking and training this person? What is up with this whole I'm your father thing? I don't understand it because I didn't understand the drama that led up to it. Why was there a bad ending? Why did the hero get his arms chopped off? What's going on? So I left the cinema not liking it at all. It is not until The Return of the Jedi when I was 9 years old that I was able to appreciate and grasp this, and also the happy ending, the awesome fight sequences, spaceships and everything, and of course Ewoks. A lot of guys give George Lucas a lot of flack for having Ewoks and pandering to kids. I am one of his kids, and it was successful in my book. So I didn't mind the Ewoks at all. It's pretty cringy now, but back then it was great. So that was that. I was a kid back then, and Star Wars was fun, but I didn't really get to engage with it until the mid-90s, when George Lucas decided to re-release the original trilogy remastered in the cinema. I remember back then I was in college. My housemates and I would get together with these VHS tapes, and we would binge watch Star Wars over and over again. And of course there's a lot of other property tie-ins, such as Shadows of the Empire, the book, and also the video games for that. But the really cool thing that sucked me into this whole universe was Dark Forces. Now imagine, in the 90s, first-person shooter was not really what it is like today. Back then we had Castle Wolfenstein, Doom, and Marathon, Unreal. You remember those games, right? Imagine now that you have those games, except in Dark Forces, it's set in the Star Wars universe, and you get to blast stormtroopers, Boba Fett, and you get to fight the Dark Troopers. That was so incredibly awesome. Along with that, you get the X-Wing games, the TIE Fighter games, and all those other fun stuff. So that was a period that I really got sucked into this whole thing. Of course, you can talk about Star Wars without talking about its action figures. And during the time of the original trilogy, I wasn't collecting toys, which is ironic because when I was a kid, I didn't have much toys. My parents wouldn't get them for me. And because of that, towards college, when I have more allowance money, when I have more freedom with my spending, I started collecting toys to kind of make up for its time. And boy, did I make up. I started getting a lot of action figures and some vintage Star Wars 3.75 inch. But my love during that time is for the 12-inch G.I. Joe vintage figures. And during that time, I didn't have many of those because those things are very expensive. You're talking about the 1960s stuff, right? But I was collecting a lot of the newer 12-inch, including the Metacom RAH, later on Hot Toys. But Hot Toys, by the time Hot Toys came out, I moved back to Hong Kong. And as you guys all know, the apartments here are very small and very expensive. So I have to scale down. And as such, I start doing 8-inch figures, the figure arts. Funny enough, my very first Black Series figure was Captain Phasma, during the time when the new sequels are coming out. And there was a lot of hype around that. So I saw a chrome stormtrooper with a cape, and of course I bought into that. And of all places, I get most of these figures in the Hong Kong airport. When I was going on business trips, there's a Disney shop there, so every time I go there, I'll pick up a couple of Black Series. And I wasn't very serious about it until I got Commander Fox. Of all clones to start with, I start with the most hated one, Commander Fox. But damn, it was red, it was shiny, I loved it, and I got it. And since then, I started collecting the older clones, which leads to the next subject, customizing action figures. How did I get started with that? Well, because of my limited space, I try to focus my collection more on clone. Somehow it just narrowed down to that. And so far I have every clone that Hasbro has produced, but they're not coming out fast enough. So I would then decide to make my own clone troopers. And I have extensive experience making models since I was 9. As some of you might know, I used to be an architect, so for 9 years straight, I would make models constantly, which kind of turned me off to it. About 3 years ago, me and my son was in a toy store, and I came across the Master Grade Gundam version 3 model kit, and that was a reawakening. I loved that so much that I decided to do more Gunpla. And then I started building the Bandai Star Wars character model kits, and I fell in love with that. So now I applied the same skills that I've learned from making models to making customs. So moving on with this future, how would I evolve this channel? I did notice that my review videos get more views than my custom videos. However, I will continue to make customs and show it to you guys because there's nothing that makes me more happy than to read the comments and hear about people being inspired by what I've done and also want to get into this hobby or asking me some questions about that. You might see some of my comments are very verbose because I just want to make sure that you guys understand what I was trying to convey and that your customs will turn out very nice also. So I'll continue doing that. But in the future, aside from reviews, the way I'll structure my videos is each video will be more focused on certain aspect of model building instead of the entire process, because that would be super long and you guys would probably fall asleep. So I'll try to make it fun and yeah, make it more focused. So that pretty much wraps up the introduction to me. I'd love to hear about your experiences collecting toys, collecting Star Wars toys, making models, making customs, anything. Please comment and be polite about it, but please comment. And I would really love to learn more about you. To this, I will say thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.